Hello, everyone. It's Joseph Shepard.
And I'm Marta Mama. Welcome to Exposed España, a podcast where we break down everything Drag Race España Season 3.
Now, before we get into the second episode, let's get into our weeks. Marta, you had the lovely privilege of having your first episode last week. How did that go?
It went great. I think people are liking it. A lot of good reactions from people. I just love it because I love to be helpful and I love people reacting in a positive way to Drag Race España, which is something that I love, you know. But how was your week? How did you like the episode and everything? You have to say yes.
Oh, I loved it. You mean the episode that we did? I love the episode that we did. If you're referring to this week's episode of Drag Race España Season 3, we'll get into that in a bit. But no, I thought it went really well. There was a lot of comments and I saw a lot of people in my DMs thanking us for doing it and bringing you along, which is great. And it's just so nice being able to just learn more. And I think that with a lot of international franchises, it can get lost. You don't know anything about the culture, so you may lose out on some of the biggest moments. So having you here is always the best thing in the world.
Oh, it's a dream come true. I just love it here. You're the best, really.
Well, before we get into this episode, Marta, we did get some emails. So do you want to take over this first email we have?
Okay, I'm going to read it. Okay, it says, "Hi, Joseph and Marta. My name is Jackie, and I'm from London. I'm so excited that you both teamed up to cover the season of España. I love learning things I never knew about Spain. Now, it was announced that there will be an all-star season of España. Who do you hope is on it, and do you know anything else about it? Love, Jackie." Well, I do, but I cannot say very a lot. It is going to exist. It is a reality. Who do I want to see in? I don't know. I think that Onyx needs another chance because her run was way too short for her talent, and she did amazing the episode she was in. So I don't know if she's in or not, but that's who I really want to see. What about you? Who do you want to see?
Ooh, I think that we should bring back both Jarigi and Marina because I want some more fights.
You want farts and fights about farts?
Farts and fights about farts. No, I think that there's so many people that I think it would be nice to see Estrella on again. I think it would be good to see. Oh, I would love to see Poopy. Oh my gosh, I read about Poopy Poison.
Yeah, Poopy.
Oh, so many. I honestly would probably be very content with anybody. Everybody's very, very there hasn't been one person on España yet that I've been ew, go away.
Yeah, and I think that was because of the edit and because of the production. Every time that anyone left, you understood that they did bad in that challenge, but you didn't think that they were not worthy or being there. And everyone that left, you really, really loved. That's the thing I love the most about Drag Race España, to be honest. Or that I was loving the most.
Oh no, and then we get into the craziness that was happening too.
Yeah. What do you think about the episode?
I thought that the episode was not my favorite.
Yeah.
I think that there was a lot of struggle buses, but I couldn't figure out if the struggle buses, the people that were having issues, which was predominantly everybody, was due to production or if it was due to them just not picking up on stuff, because didn't seem like it was one person who was amazing. It seemed like everybody had issues. And so to me, if everybody has issues, then that was probably coming from the top down, as opposed to some people are doing great and some people aren't. So then you really can't blame it on anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. If everybody fails the test, it's probably the teacher's fault.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's a great explanation.
I agree. I felt the same way. Well, I think you need lows to be able to appreciate the highs. And we're all so disappointed and so angry that I think this will unify all the fans of Drag Race España in a way too. You know, we're very passionate about Drag Race España as well. So we're very defensive, and when we think they're not doing the best with something we love the most, we all unify. And I'm trying to be positive here, okay, Joseph?
And that's what we try to do on this podcast. We try to bring out positivity. Like the mini challenge that I was very confused with. I know what Eurovision is. I just didn't understand how this has anything to do with drag. So I was very confused.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, it is a very gay thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it, you know, and there's a lot of iconic fashion moments. But yes, they did change the director and the sub-director, and the people ahead of Drag Race España is different than the last two seasons. So I think you can really
Oh.
tell. Yep. Yeah,
Interesting. I
it's
didn't know
obvious.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I could tell through some things. I was like, why are we getting into geography right now? I was like, this is a little bizarre, but they had to basically locate the country that different Eurovision winners represented, and then they had to put it on a big map. And just like all the contestants, I don't know where anything is either.
Well, you're American. Yes, I understand that you don't, but we usually do. Like, sorry, babe. Sorry for the shade. We usually know all these countries. And if you watch Eurovision, it's a constant like map of Europe of all the little countries lighting up. And they say, I don't know, Estonia, 12 points or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So we learn all these things when we're like 8 years old in school. It's not, it's common knowledge here. But you only have the flags and the artists, you know?
Oh, true. So you don't have like the names. You kind of had to
Yeah,
guess what the country was.
exactly.
So we end up with the Macarena winning this mini challenge, and
Hmm.
it seemed like the whole cast was hating on the Macarena.
And I didn't understand it. Like they were all saying she's so annoying, she's so hyper, and she was doing nothing. She was just vibing there in the corner. I think this was like forced narratives that they
Mm,
try to push. They're, I don't know why, but it feels too obvious that they're
yeah.
trying to push this.
Yeah, I was getting that too because the first comment came out of nowhere. I don't know whose confessional it is, but they were like, "Oh, the Macarena, da 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 da," and I was like, "Oh, was she? Was she being annoying?" I was like, "I didn't get that," and then literally somebody else said it, and then I was like, "Oh, wait, am I supposed to believe she's being annoying right now?" Okay, so I get exactly what you were saying because it came out of left field.
But well, I think that's ultimately good for the Macarena. I mean, people love an underdog. So if
Yep.
people are hating you for no reason, that's good for you. That's what I
Yeah.
try to tell everybody.
And yeah, so she won, and she gets to divide the cast into two groups, one for herself, and then the other one is Vanya Vinaya, right?
Vania
Vanilla.
Vainilla. Vania Vainilla.
Vanya
Yeah, you're improving.
Vainilla. Well,
Yes.
I kept hearing what was the Ornella Gongora. I kept hearing
Yeah.
that over and over and over, and I was like, I have to get it right.
You got it perfect. And one thing, the prize for Macarena was winning like 300 euros in male underwear just before she announced that she is transitioning. So it's like you remember when Sasha Velour won
Yes.
hamburgers and she was a vegan? Pearl went to New York and she was like, yeah, I'm from New York, a trip to New York or something. Yeah, I live there, you know?
So we're gonna get into all of the main challenge and the picking of groups after the break. But before we get into this break, I do want you to tell me because the maxi challenge, they're gonna have to perform a dance off to Slomo by Chanel.
Yeah.
So
Do you
who
know the song?
is? I never heard the song before.
Wow. Okay.
Is it like a big deal?
It is a very big deal because it's our song from last year Eurovision,
Mm.
and we have been performing like for the last I don't know how many years. Spain always performs terrible in Eurovision. It's like 25 countries, and we're always like 21st, 24th, 23rd, 25th. So this year we were actually fan favorites. It was an amazing song. We ended up being third. Ukraine won, no comments. And we were third, which is amazing. And they were fan favorite, super well known song. She is adorable and she's an amazing dancer. And it was extra well known because she's able to dance and perform vocally at the same time. To like, it's amazing. You cannot believe it. You have to watch it afterwards. Okay, promise?
Oh, I'll do it. You got it.
Okay, got.
Well, let's go ahead and take a break. And then when we get back, we'll get into this maxi challenge and all of that good stuff. We are back. It's Exposed España. Now, we just introduced this maxi challenge. Marta just explained who Chanel was. And we learned about Slomo and how you guys placed third last year compared to the bad placings before. So for those who may not know, who may be listening, who are not part of Europe, what technically is Eurovision for those who may not know?
Eurovision is an international song contest. It includes Europe, but other countries like Australia, for example, participates in Eurovision. Each country selects a song per year, and they all go to whoever won the year before is the country that hosts, and they all battle it out. And there are like public voting where you can vote for any other country except for yourselves. So each year there is someone that wins. That song is usually played everywhere for the whole year, so it's a way to promote music and all that. It's been going on since like the 50s actually, and it was pretty big in the 20th century too.
So are these artists that are well known already, or is it kind of like new ones?
Well, it depends on what each country really wants to take to Eurovision. Many times they're like new coming artists that are amazing. This is actually like Chanel's first song ever. She was always like in musicals, but sometimes they are very, very well known or well respected artists. Sometimes it's people that come from social media. It varies a lot from year to year.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it was created like after the war and all that. It was like a way of unifying, of having something in common after the Second World War, creating connections between countries and culture between countries. So it's like a peaceful contest, That's the spirit in theory.
So it's our full Eurovision episode then. We get it all from the start to the finish. The Macarena chooses the teams, and on her team, which she named the Glitterazzo.
Glitterazo. Yeah, it's like giving you like hitting you with glitter. That's what it means.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Macarena chose Cloverbish. We had Visa, Chanel NRX, Bestia, and Pink Shadora. And then
Las Muerta Hari. There was a Eurovision song from Azerbaijan. I believe that was Las Mata Hari. And they chose Las Muerta Hari. Muerta means dead. So it would be like the dead Hari. I don't know. It's just a stupid play in words, but it's good enough. They love that in Spain. It's everything is a pun.
That's what I've been noticing. And I'll be like, I don't get this, but I'm guessing that everybody else understands it. Vanya Vanilla, Kelly Roller, Drag Chuchi, Ornella Gongora, Paquita, and Petita were all in the second group. And I would like to know, did you like these teams? What did you think about these teams? Was the Macarena smart in picking how she did?
She was. She is so smart. She chose Cloverbish the first, She understood the assignment perfectly. Vanya's not a dancer, so I think she doesn't really understand who can dance and who can't. So she went for a little more of like personality or people that just gave her good vibes, I guess. So
Yeah.
yeah, you can tell that the groups were very different.
They were beyond different. And then it became too, the choreographer was talking about how Macarena's team seemed like they were overconfident. And I was like, I didn't necessarily get overconfident from them. I just got people that knew how to dance. But with Vanya's team, there was some struggle buses,
Yes.
And then when the final performance came out, there was a lot of struggle buses.
There was a lot of struggle buses, but did like when they're with Carmelo, the choreographer, he takes in the Vania Vainilla group the only person that can dance from the whole lineup. He takes Drag Chuchi and he starts saying, "Yeah, you're picking up the dance pretty well, but you're not like part of the team. You have to be more." And
Yes.
she's the person that is learning the choreography that has to teach that choreography to the rest of the team, and even that is like a problem. It felt pushed. Like all of
Yes.
this feels fake and pushed. And Drag Race España has always been like super honest, or at least it looked
Mm-hmm.
super honest. You know what I mean?
I agree with you. And I noticed that and I was like, well, how are you supposed to be a teammate when you're learning choreography in the choreography stage? You're not even like, this isn't the main stage performance. You have 10 million things going through your head. You don't know the steps. You're trying to pick it up. And then, like you said, if Chuchi's going to have to teach the whole team this, then she should be paying attention.
I don't know. And then in the performance itself, it was edited in a way where you couldn't even see them. Like the
Yes.
only thing you saw from Pinchadora was when she was biting into the sandwich. The
Yes.
only thing, there was like one take, like 2 seconds maybe per person, or even there was people that you didn't even see, maybe in the background for 1 second, but you couldn't really appreciate who was doing a
Mm-hmm.
good job and who wasn't. It was filmed
Yeah.
and edited in a very, very weird way.
Honestly, when I was watching it, I was like, and then when it ended, I was like, I don't remember anybody. I don't know who's going to win. All I knew is that Cloverbish was the Chanel, and then who was the other Chanel? We had
Paquita.
Paquita. Yeah, and then all I know is that Paquita performed everything with her back to everybody, and that's basically
Yeah.
all I knew. So
Yeah.
those were the two people that I saw. Everybody else, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Like, I think that the thing about group challenges is that I want to see who's doing well and who's not doing well. And if the camera is going to always be zoomed out on all of these people and we're not technically zooming in and, putting a name card on there or saying like, showing when somebody's doing well or doing bad, it just all came off very, very muddled and it was very confusing for me.
Yeah. Give them a verse. Let them
Yes.
be themselves. Let them have their own moment.
I will say the one thing that I did like was how they put the little video in the bottom left corner.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
cool.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, this is the performance. This is how they're supposed to be doing it. The choreography is supposed to be the same. That would have been even cooler if they had enough time to learn and really got that choreography down.
Because actually, this is not shade whatsoever, but Clover did the whole dance solo that Chanel does, and she made it even more difficult than Chanel's solo. But she knew that dance already. She had performed the same exact song with the same exact choreo 6 months before filming Drag Race.
Wow.
Yeah, so she already knew the dance. She did amazing. It's not, it's still amazing, but she didn't have to learn it. It's not that she was a lot quicker learning choreography than anyone else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I explain you the sandwich?
Yes. Explain the sandwich.
Because that's the only thing that we see from the winner.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So Pinchadora knows that she cannot dance. So she thinks of another pun because, Drag Race España, we love puns. Slomo, if you pronounce it with a Spanish accent, you pronounce it Slomo, right? Slomo is how we would say, like, it's meat. It's a pork fillet, it's a pork loin, a cut of
Okay.
meat from the back that we use for sandwiches. So when we say eat a lomito, eat a lomo. It's a sandwich of that particular cut of meat that is very, very normal in Spain. So she's playing with the punch. She takes like a bite of the sandwich, pretending it's lomo. It's lomo, you know? That's why it was
Yes.
funny.
And she won a dance challenge without dancing. That's
Yeah,
a crazy thing in the world.
it is. I'm happy for her anyway. Like she
Yeah.
did the best she could with what she had. Maybe she danced amazingly, but we didn't see
You
it.
didn't see it,
We
yeah.
don't know.
Well, we see those performances. The girls are getting ready in the workroom for the main runway, and they're all talking about feathers. Now, I need to know, what is it about feathers? I was very confused.
So, feathers is the word we use in Spanish to talk about. It's difficult to translate because you guys use adjectives and a feather is a noun, okay? But
Mhm.
feather would be the effeminate fruitiness of gay men being limp-wristed,
Mm.
flamboyant. It's the way that gay men act, speak, and carry themselves that let you know they are gay. So we say someone has feathers when someone acts in a very, very gay way or talks in a high pitched voice
Okay.
and all that. We don't really know where it comes from. It probably comes from like the cabarets and the vedettes, but there's an origin story for this term that it actually comes from the Spanish Civil War that was in the 1930s. They say that the fascist group, the fascist army, got help from Italian soldiers from the fascist Italy, and these soldiers came with they had a lot of feathers on their helmet and they smelled like perfume. So the socialist army, the other side of the war, started calling them like effeminate, like gay, just to make fun of them. So since then, having feather would be, it's being looking gay. You don't even have to be gay, it's not the
Mm.
same gender expression with gender orientation, and it's different concepts. But it's just, I like the translation limp wristed. And if there is a word for limp wristedness, if there's not, there is now. Limp wristedness would be
Limp-wristedness.
feather. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. It
Yeah, and
makes
they're
sense.
saying that they love guys with pluma. They love that. They love effeminate guys. They love femme guys that are unapologetically gay. And I love this
Hmm.
conversation because, nowadays, especially with the gay men, it's all like mask for mask. Like you can be gay, but you cannot look or act like a gay person. It's kind of misogynistic in a little bit in a way, and a little homophobic, also in a
Yep.
way. So it was kind of refreshing. I loved it.
I did too. I thought it was like such an interesting conversation. And then just knowing that you guys have like your own verbiage for flamboyancy, I guess that we would say like over
Yeah.
here. I loved it. It was a great conversation.
But why didn't they translate it anyway? Like they translated just the feather. They left it in a literal translation, which was very difficult to follow because there was a lot of people that understood that they were talking about hairy men. Like I love men with feather, and they were understanding, feather is beautiful. Never take your feather off. And people were understanding they were talking about hairy men. It's difficult. It's hard.
It is. And it also became hard when Bestia and Vanya had a chat about growing up and being themselves, that kind of like came off of the feather chat and being accepted by their family. I kind of resonated really well with the stories because that's kind of like what happened with my mother when I ended up coming out. It was, you know, we were always taught not to have a limp wrist or not to do this and that, and you'd be like smacked on the hand and all of that stuff. And then when I came out, my mom cut me off for about 3 years, I believe, and didn't talk to me. So it
Wow,
was,
I'm so sorry.
yeah. And I think too, when you're like a mama's boy and that happens to you,
Yeah.
it's like, ooh. So it's difficult. And so I'm always glad when people get to just tell their stories, because if one person can relate with you, it can help so much.
Yeah, we can totally relate. I'm still in the closet for my dad. Like and he will never know that I do drag and that I
Yeah.
do a lot of things. I still try to keep the relationship that I have. And I just, it's a shame that I cannot be
Yeah.
myself because I'm super proud of me. But even when I cut my hair, I buzzed my head, he wouldn't speak to me for like 3 months or whatever. I understand you very well.
Wow.
It's a struggle that we all share. So when they show that on TV, it's something that the whole LGBT community can look at it and say, I understand. If I haven't lived that, I've been afraid of living that.
Yes. Ooh, that was a good
And
way
that
you put
is,
that.
yeah, it's a trauma as well.
Marta, on that note, do you think that we should take a break?
Yes, please. Not please. Okay, but when we get back, we're going to get into the runway, okay? Because it was super interesting.
We are back and we're getting into the runway. I'm so excited because I have up your document. Guys, every week, Marta makes a little document with everything, every little reference in it so that I can understand it. And it is the most helpful thing in the world. So the runway category was España in Eurovision. So is that just basically different performers that had performed for Spain in Eurovision over the years?
Exactly. Throughout history, iconic Spain moments of Eurovision. Yep. You didn't understand anything because you have never seen Eurovision, but it was very helpful that they put reference pictures on screen. I think they make my job a lot easier.
And then also, I did notice there were quite a few people who were doing outfits that other contestants were doing. We had like a few pairs, right?
Yeah. What I know from like backstage is that they gave them a list of people they could choose from. They could not choose just any option. Well, if you think like female performers, there were not that many in general, but they gave them a list of people. So it's easy for them to repeat certain categories. And as usual, every time there's a recreation, they gave them the option, well, not the option. Some got the memo that they had to recreate, and some got the memo that they had to reinterpret the look. That always happens.
Yeah.
Half of the people do one thing, half of the people do another one.
Yeah. So first up, we had Pink Shadora. So is this individual, which I'm going to let you speak in a second, just gave me very Weird Al vibes.
Exactly. You described it perfectly. I didn't think about that comparison. It's exactly that. This was 2008. He's called Rodolfo Chiquilicuatre. And this was a time where we had been performing very well in Eurovision until like the 90s. Then we were like super, super bad. And this was something big. When Eurovision was on, no one would be on the street. You would see no cars on the street. Like people would stop everything to watch Eurovision. So people in 2008, 2007 were super disenfranchised with Eurovision. Again, we were always last again. So they decided to make it a little more interesting. And through MySpace, they opened applications. Like anyone could submit their application to go to Eurovision through MySpace.
Wow.
Well, we had a late night show called Buena Fuente. Just imagine like you're Jimmy Fallon. And in that late night, there was a comedy skit from a comedian that made this character. It's not a real person, Rodolfo Chiquilicuatre. It was like a Weird Al character. And since it was like open, they submit an application and it was public voting. People could vote online. It's the last year they allowed that. So this troll act ended up being Spanish representation for Eurovision that year, but it was all of us trolling and all of us explaining how disenfranchised we were. We didn't care anymore. We were going to be last no matter what. So it's like a fuck you to the whole Eurovision system. So it was a troll act. It's exactly like Weird Al.
I love that. And I love that it was a troll act. He had like he has a fake toy guitar.
Yes, like I don't know, 1 feet long toy guitar with like six little keys. It's stupid. It was completely stupid. Like, okay, he went with dancers. One of the dancers was the late night host wife,
Okay.
who is also a comedian. And they were doing this act all the time where Chiquilicuatre would pretend he's a real artist, like in interviews and stuff, and the dancers would be in the background trolling or something. If they had an interview on the boat, you would see both of the dancers like puking out of the boat, or they were performing to the most all the time. And when they had the act in Eurovision, they fell everywhere. And when they were, it was stupid. It was stupid. But you know what? It was the best result that we had in Eurovision in a long time. They performed better than the years before that and the years after that. It was a huge, huge success. Well, not a huge success. We were 16th, but we weren't like 25th out of 25, We were
Yeah.
16th. That's a very good position for us.
Hey, and who would have known that a MySpace contest and a joke performer would end up with you guys actually doing well?
Yeah. Well, there's something to learn in everything, isn't it?
Oh, one thing that I did want to learn is I didn't understand when she pulled out the battery.
Me neither. There's nothing specific there. Maybe the toy guitar, but it's not supposed like Chiquilicuatre doesn't have batteries. She's just trying to bring the comedy to the runway as well, because it was a comedy act. But there was nothing specific. I didn't like the battery thing, in fact. I thought it didn't make a lot of sense. But the look was super cute because it was Chiquilicuatre, but on steroids, and the crazy hair, and I don't know, with a real guitar. It was like a good version of Chiquilicuatre.
I don't even know what it reminded me of, but I absolutely loved the hair.
What's the Cameron Diaz
Yes!
movie?
Wait, no, it's
Something About Mary, or
yes, Something About Mary. Yeah,
Something About Mary. That one. Yeah.
Exactly what it looked like.
There was a comedy skit. This hair belonged actually to one of the dancers in one of the comedy skits. I think I remember. It's a long time ago,
Yeah, a long time ago, 2009. 2008? Who would have known 2008 that MySpace would be gone by now?
Is it gone?
Well, I mean, it's there, but do people use it? Marta, are you on MySpace?
Maybe we're not cool enough, and only the cool kids are on MySpace still.
I wonder what MySpace is. Hold on, wait. I want to type it. MySpace.com. All right, listeners, I know that you probably are like, what in the world are you doing? But I want to see what it looks like. Oh, okay. So MySpace. Is it
cool?
MySpace now is predominantly a music site.
Oh.
It has news, like the news items are Red Hot Chili Peppers, 9 Inch Nails, Slipknot, and Kiss to headline Louder Than Life lineup. Then you go into music and you can listen to music. It's basically like a music listening platform, I guess.
Yeah, it's giving SoundCloud. Yeah.
Yes, SoundCloud. Perfect. Well, next up that we can add this song. Maybe this song's on there. Let me type in the Macarena. The Macarena is next up. And she is wearing a pink short dress that's strapless and a big black bow in the back, along with little small black bows on it in the front. I thought her makeup looked great. Can you tell me about this?
Yes, this was supposed to be Nina. That was the performer in 1989, and she ended up in 6th position. This we remember as one of the ugliest dresses to ever bless Eurovision Song Contest, and people hated it. It was ugly even for 1989. So Macarena did her own version. She is inspired also by like Sailor Moon villains or like the Power Ranger villains. It's giving a little bit of that. And the huge boy is part of, her look and her aesthetic, the huge bow on the back. That's how she entered Drag Race in season 1, in fact, I believe. And I think she looks just gorgeous. She looks gorgeous. Nina, the singer, was also, how can I explain this? there was a time in the 2000s and 2001 where we had a reality TV show, a singing reality TV show that was really a mix between American Idol and Big Brother, because you would really see them live together, fall in love, cry, all
Wow.
of that. And the winner for that reality TV show would be the one that goes to Eurovision. That was
Okay.
a lot after this, but she was the director of that academy. So she had a relation with Eurovision even after going to Eurovision. In that way, she's like a reality TV person from the early 2000s. Did you like the look?
I did like the look. I will say that the dress was not as tight as I wanted it to be, as fitted.
Mm.
But that was it. And I thought that it was a great interpretation of the look. I'm glad that she didn't do something so literal. And I thought her makeup was flawless.
Oh, just her makeup is so good this season. She improved
Yes. She
so
improved so
much.
much.
She's gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Gorgeous, gorgeous. Now, did you think that Vanya did you think that she was gorgeous?
Well, she was giving Rambo, they said.
I laughed so hard at that. I was like, yes, yes, yes.
She
Rambo,
said it
100%.
herself. She was shading herself, you know. This is supposed to be Remedios Amaya, who was our contestant for Eurovision in 1983. Her song was Quien maneja mi barca, which means who pilots my boat. So that's why she has the little paddle thing, because she's supposed to be on a boat, I guess. Um, this dress, it wasn't the original dress, I mean, by Remedios Amaya. She wasn't going to wear this dress. It was a last minute thing because the background was black and her dress was black. And she decided to wear the dress that she used for the music video, but she didn't have any shoes that would go with that outfit. So she just went out barefoot. And Remedios Amaya, it was the first time that she went to any foreign country. It was the first time that she traveled anywhere. It was her first big thing, and she said that that was going to be like bad luck, and she ended up actually being last position in Eurovision that year, in fact. But we love her. Like in Spain, we love her.
That's so sad. That would have made me so sad. I was laughing because yes, she did look like Rambo, but then it also reminded me of like, it looks like she escaped a church's Christmas play. She ran out. She was like, "Oh no, like I must go." Like that's what I kept getting. I kept getting like my old church's Christmas play when I was a child. That's what it was giving.
Yes, with the hair, with the little thing in the hair and everything, being barefoot.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I understand. But she looks similar to the original one, I mean.
She does look similar to the original one, and then she did take it and edited it a little bit. So not my favorite. I think it was a little lax, but yeah, it is what it is. Next up, we had Drag Chuchi, and while I respected this look, I think it looked a lot too costumey.
So you didn't respect it then? No, I'm just kidding. I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
It is a little bit too costumey. I think that she was too ambitious. This is from a group called La Década Prodigiosa, and it was in 1989 or something. And she was trying to be the four characters in one. So first she comes out as the two guys, half and half, and then she reveals into the two girls, half and half. But that's very difficult because of the hair looks terrible. The outfit doesn't fit really well, and it's a uglier version than the original. You can never do an uglier version than the original.
Yes.
The original was super ugly. This was the 80s, I mean. But you you have to make it a little bit more impressive, but well, I think the concept was very cool. We've never seen like four looks that way,
I agree. I thought that the concept was there. I just wish that the execution of the outfits was a little bit more seamless, because it kind of reminded me of, do you know those quick change performers?
Yes, with the magicians.
Yes.
So
those outfits are always very similar to this. Like, it's always, they're a little bit thicker. They're easy to pull off. And I think that it just didn't hit the I don't think that the right costume person potentially made this outfit, if that makes sense.
It was her girlfriend, her boyfriend who made this outfit, I think. He made all of
I'm
the
gonna go in a tunnel
outfits.
right now. I'm gonna go run away.
But, they had think about it. It's even more difficult when your boyfriend is your stylist because you have 3 weeks to make 20 looks. And if you have your stylist that you have always worked with him, he is going to try to do as many looks as possible, at least.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more difficult than if you have 16 different designers doing your stuff. It's difficult. La Década Prodigiosa, the group, wasn't even something like super huge for us. But I must say that under that girl's outfit, she had a bodysuit to lip sync in. And that
Yes.
bodysuit was also about the same group. It said La Década Prodigiosa, and it was also on theme.
Yes. Because when she took it all off, I was like, oh, wait, there's a bodysuit under this. But now knowing that it was all like part of the reference, that's awesome.
Yeah. And her makeup is amazing too. She's
Yeah.
just so pretty. So sad.
Next up, we had Visa. And this is the first of the same looks that also Cloverbish had, right?
Yes, they both shared Salome. Salome won Eurovision in 1969, and she actually won it here in Spain because we won 2 years in a row, so we were hosting as well.
Oh.
The original look was a bodysuit by a designer called Pertegaz, and this was probably the most well-known fashion moment from Spain in Eurovision. If you think fashion in Eurovision, you would think Salome in 69. The problem is that this wasn't fringe. This were actually porcelain beads that were hand sewn to the garment in the original look. It was like 25, 30 pounds heavy. She had 3 necklaces that were 2 pounds each. It was kind of difficult to move on. So it's not this fringe. It doesn't look like the same thing because it's not, but you do understand the reference. This look was very celebrated. A lot of people said that we won because of this look, but a lot of people also say that we won because Franco, our dictator, wanted us to win like really, really hard because he wanted to clean Spain's image in Europe, after being a fascist dictator for a very long time. Yeah.
Wow, Marta, you're like seriously like a history book.
I'm just old.
Oh, shush. I love the original look. I think that this look, hands down, I want one. Literally, I would love to wear this for a photo shoot. It's beautiful. When Visa came out, I was getting very Monsters Inc. Like,
she looked like Sully. Yes. Or
yeah,
like
she looked like Sully, and then the little part,
car
the little,
wash.
yeah, it's a car wash. Yep. So I understood where she was going. I just think that it wasn't, like you said, it's totally different thing from fringe to like beaded
Yeah.
portion.
Porcelain beads.
Yeah.
It's difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it was okay.
Yeah. It's a good reference. And then she reveals into a second look. She reveals into Chiquilicuatre again, that we saw Pinchadora do, the like troll act. So she was the most like serious Eurovision and the most like stupid troll Eurovision at the same time. She looked nice in the second outfit as well. I love the sideburns, the little glasses.
Yeah.
She had the toy guitar. I think that she looked so gorgeous with this Chiquilicuatre. Her face, her makeup isn't usually very polished, but I really liked how her face looked in this Chiquilicuatre look for some reason. I don't know. That may be because my drag has very severe sideburns when I'm in drag as well. So I see someone in sideburns and I'm like, oh, me likey.
Well, not only that, but I think that there's like, if you look at this picture from far away, right, it looks like Michelle Visage.
It's giving New Jersey.
Yes.
You're totally right.
Yes. It's the hair and everything. So funny.
Yeah.
Ornella Gongora. She also did Nina.
Yep. Which one did you like best? Oh, I shouldn't ask.
In all honesty, I like the Macarenas more.
Me too.
I think that while Ornella went for she was more close to the look with the pink dress. The issue that I had is that pink fabric, I don't think it was the right pink fabric she should have used. The way that the camera hit it and the lights hit it, it just made it look very cheap. Where I think that if we would have gone with a different pink fabric, it could have actually elevated this dress. But I think that the pink fabric was really what turned me away from it.
Yeah, I think I liked Macarena's look a lot better, and I think Macarena looked a lot prettier. And Ornella chose to be a little more campy, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
The hair looks more similar to a Nina hair. But the thing that she did better, I think, than Macarena was using her facial expressions to look like Nina. Nina, we know her because if you think about Nina, you think about the biggest mouth in the world. She has the hugest mouth hole, and she was making all these facial expressions. It was fun because of that, it saved the look in a way.
I agree with you. And I think that she accompanied, like she did it well. And the bows, I like the over exaggeration of the bows because the bows in the original were so small. So I like the over exaggeration of how big they were. But I do believe she kind of gets lost in her outfit, which I do not like.
The white tights, I mean, Nina was originally using white tights because, it was the 80s, but they weren't so matte, opaque, white tights,
Yeah.
If you're going to do a reinterpretation and you're going to make it even more camp, I don't know. I would have done a different thing. I don't know what I would have done, but yeah. But she looks gorgeous. She understood the assignment. The only thing is that we have another person to compare it with. Yep. If we didn't have the Macarena, we would have loved this outfit.
Did you love Kelly Roller's outfit?
Honestly, well, she had two outfits again. We have two people, and I didn't understand why they didn't say anything about this. The first outfit is Betty Mi Ciego, and the original one looked just like this as well. It was like the 70s. Instead of having the hair that is originally like a very low ponytail with big curly hair underneath, she had like a camp version of that. And then this is safe, but it's like it takes you 20 minutes to sew that. Literally, it's just a piece of fabric that doesn't look that amazing. But then she reveals into Soraya, who was the guest judge.
And if I was the guest judge and if I saw this look, I would have been mad.
And she wasn't. She loved it. She ate it up. I don't understand. Did you see the wig? The blonde
wig was the issue.
The wig and the blue. Bad.
Yeah.
It was so bad. It was completely different. The fit was different. It didn't have all these rhinestones. The makeup was amazing. She was on skates. There's a lot of good things to say about this outfit.
Yeah, for sure.
But the judges were criticizing so hard, very specific things about the looks. And they loved, and they gave like a lot of props to Kelly for this outfit. I don't understand. They were being super harsh on the challenge outfits, which production gave the girls. You cannot judge the outfits that you are providing yourselves because of course they're not going to fit correctly. But Clover didn't win because of her outfit, and it was a lot better than this. But I don't know.
There was just something about it to me. Like, I was just like, oh, the wig just really pushed me off. And then the dress, I believe, was too high. The little skirt portion was way too high. And I was like, not for me. And then if we go to the first look, I think that my issue came down to, like you said, it was just like a piece of fabric and it doesn't take that long to sew. I really wish she would have tailored that to her body. If she would have, like, kind of like how the images, the reference image that you have, how it just kind of like forms more of a V as opposed to like a rectangle, I think that would have helped too.
Or maybe the panel that she has in the middle, she could have done something a little more camp with that and have the silhouette of like a guitar with the waist, you know?
Oh, yeah.
She could have gone like a total different route, but I think that she got the memo that she had to recreate the look as similar as possible.
Yeah. I get
That's
that
what I
same
think.
memo.
Ornella didn't get that memo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Some people
Hmm.
did, some people didn't.
Yeah,
Which producer were they talking to?
exactly. Exactly.
Next up, we have Paquita with a lovely three different.
Did you love it? You
I
didn't.
did love
Did you
it.
love
I did
it?
love it. I did.
Ah!
I thought she looked gorgeous. I thought that this was the most well put together of them.
Mm-hmm.
There was a story, there was a through line. I love the idea of the outfit changing and everything. Was there a story behind the outfit changing?
Oh, a big story. These are Azúcar Moreno, who went to Eurovision in 1990, and they were fifth, actually, a very good position. They're actually sisters, so that's why they look alike that much. And these outfits, this was a very, very epic moment for Eurovision fashion. They had these gorgeous gowns from this amazing designer, Francis Montesinos, and like 10 minutes before going on stage, both of their zippers popped and broke. So they just took whatever they had in the luggage, and they had these little black dresses that they had bought in a street market for like $20. And they wore those. They were all wrinkly and everything because they didn't even have time to press them. So they just went out to the stage with whatever they had on, which I think is epic behavior. And then when they started singing, the live portion music was out of sync with the recorded portion of the music, and they stopped the whole thing. They went backstage and they demanded to start over again, and they started the performance all over again. And even with all of that, they were fifth.
Wow.
Yeah. And Paquita reveals into a third dress because she does look very similar to Azúcar Moreno. She looks very similar to these sisters, just naturally. So she
Uh-huh.
says that she is the third Azúcar Moreno. So they're both, she is the third one.
Cute.
Yeah.
Cute. Now it all makes sense. And she looked gorgeous. She looked stunning. I loved the wig to the regular hair. Like, so smart. So smart. Loved it.
The judges ate it up, like her performance, saying another one, like Estrella last year with the Marilyn
Oh, yeah,
outfits.
yeah, yeah.
She delivered it amazingly, I think.
So good.
I loved it.
Next up, we have last week's winner. We have Bestia. This was one of the most underwhelming for me.
Yeah.
It was
And I
just
think,
simple.
yeah. And Bestia was underwhelmed too. I think like, because she likes crazy looks. We saw her last year with a come on look, She is that type of girl, and she had to dress up as Edurne. I think she got the recreation memo and not the reinterpretation memo, too. She did Edurne, who was also not very memorable. She was like 21st in Eurovision, terrible position. But she's just a gorgeous blonde woman that can sing really well. The only memorable thing that there was about that performance is that she started wearing like this huge red coat, and then suddenly they pulled from the coat from behind, and it was like a drag reveal, and it revealed into the other outfit. So that's why she takes out the red coat.
Um,
But it's not like the huge reveal it was in Eurovision. It was a little bit underwhelming.
yeah. And also, I was not a fan of that wig.
None of the wigs this episode were too good. I think
Where
that
did they
Bestia
get them
doesn't.
from?
Well, some of the wigs were good. I don't know, Macarena's and Ornella. Some of the wigs were okay. But I think Bestia is not the type of person that puts on a blonde wig with a butterfly cut. That's
Agreed.
not her drag. She always wears super sculptural wigs. So, yeah.
Next up, we have another duplicate. We have Clover Bish, and she does the same outfit that who else did? That Visa
Visa.
did.
Mm-hmm. They hated this outfit.
I didn't hate
Do
it.
you understand why? Because I don't.
No, no, I don't understand why. I think that it was a very good interpretation for her to do. So I am a little confused. I didn't have an issue with it.
They said that you could really see that it was like fringe trim that you sew above another piece of fabric because you could see the
Oh,
fabric underneath.
mm,
But they didn't say anything about the only bad part of the outfit, actually, that is the wig. The wig was ugly again.
yeah, I agree.
Um, but the outfit has more structure than Visa's. She could move it really, really well. It was really, really fun to see her dance in that outfit. Her face was amazing. If you look at the pictures
Mm-hmm.
from that day, they looked like photoshopped and they're not. And she has the little Eurovision microphone. That's the prize that they give you. That's the little trophy. And actually, Maria Edilia gave that trophy to her before leaving. So that's Maria Edilia's little
Oh,
trophy. Oh. And this is
oh.
the reason why Cloverfish didn't win this episode because this was so terrible. Well, I don't see it.
I don't see it either. I can understand what they're saying about like putting the fringe on top of another piece of fabric. I can see that, like the way she's walking, but I don't think it deserved the negativity that it was getting.
No, totally agree. She looked stunning.
She does look stunning. Sans the wig. We can just throw the wig away. Next up, we have Chanel Anorex. This was her own interpretation of this look.
Yeah, she did whatever she wanted,
Yeah.
This song was this artist is Ruth Lorenzo, and the song was Dancing in the Rain. So she thought, okay, let's make her stand in the rain for a little too long. So she's all like rotten, and that's the interpretation. Like she's been standing in the rain for 10 years now,
Mm-hmm.
and now she can do her monster, air quotes, type of look. But did you
Monster
see the best part of the look was that she was also barefoot, but she had toenails, like extensions created for this look. It
I'm
was
looking now.
disgusting. Disgusting. This is dedication. I mean, I love those details. If you're going to be barefoot, put on some crazy ass nails.
So funny. My goodness. Marta, I never would have seen that if you didn't put that on there.
Disgusting. I love her mind.
So stupid. And last up, we have Betita. This was my favorite.
It is. It was my favorite too. I think this is so well done. And the fact is that she took someone which we will always remember as the ugliest dress ever in Eurovision. And it was such a fashion moment because the designer of that original dress is very, very recognizable. We have this designer in Spain called Agatha Ruiz de la Prada, and you can immediately tell it's an Agatha Ruiz de la Prada design. So she took this very campy designer. Now, the song is not important, the artist is not important. She's just making a fashion statement about a fashion statement. It's not about Eurovision
Mm-hmm.
anymore. She's talking about Agatha Ruiz de la Prada, about the designer, not about Lydia, the singer, or the song or anything. We
Yeah.
were last this year with this outfit, and everyone said it was because of the dress.
I mean,
It
I
was
would
that
have given
ugly.
last for that dress.
Exactly. But Pitita gave it this 1950s Dior silhouette to the ankle with the thin waist. She has such a high taste level, I think. She just looked amazing. Amazing.
Gorgeous. I was so glad that she got praised for it and that the judges didn't say something random that I would have been confused by.
They did say something about her makeup, but I think that was the only constructive criticism in the whole
Mm-hmm.
episode. They said, "Oh, your makeup doesn't look well on camera." And she was like, "Oh, thank you very much. I've never been on camera. I'm glad to know." You know,
Yeah.
it's not about that the judges are being too harsh. You can say the bad things, but don't be disrespectful. Don't say that you're dancing like a fan in a concert. Don't say, there are certain things that you just don't say.
Do you think that the judges' comments, because there was a moment and, they basically told the contestants that they've never done this in the previous 2 seasons, but they really need to lay it out to them and what they thought. Do you think that the judges were being too mean?
I think that the honest answer is that it wasn't the judges, that it was probably production. We've had 2 seasons of Drag Race previously with the same panel of judges, and we have seen people with the same mistakes. We have seen Poopy Poison. We have seen Samantha Valentine's. We have seen the judges saying that they do not care about those details. That's what we expect. That's what we're used to. Spain drag was a little bit different because it wasn't about being extremely sophisticated. It was about being more creative. It was about the references. It was about making you excited again, making you think, making you cry. But now I think probably the people that are behind the camera are saying that we should elevate the level without really understanding where the level was, I believe, because it was very high as it was.
I agree with you. There was a lot of things that they said that I agreed with. There was some things that I thought was too harsh. But I do think that it was probably coming from an upper level. It's kind of changed a little bit. España has changed just a tad little bit. And like you said, this episode was so well received. It got a great score.
Yeah, it's the lowest rated episode in the history of Drag Race España by like 2 whole points. People are hating on this episode a lot. I would just remind everyone that these queens are amazing. These queens have amazing careers, and we have only seen 2 episodes. We have to give them an opportunity. And even if we don't like the production, this is not about just Drag Race, it's about the queen's career afterwards as well, So take the time to fall in love with them, even if the judges make it difficult for you to fall in love with them.
Well, on that note, let's take a little break. We'll be back. We'll get into the Maxi Challenge winner and all of that good stuff. So stay tuned. We're back. Now, Marta Mama, the Maxi Challenge winner ended up being Pink Chadora. What did you think of that?
Well, everyone thought it was going to be Clover Bish. We didn't really see Pink Chadora in the challenge except for the sandwich, and the look wasn't a lot better than Clover's look. But even though everyone feels a certain type of way, I want to remind everybody that being the queen that wins and everyone says that you didn't deserve it and the Clover was robbed has to be super, super, super harsh. So send Pink Chadora some love. It's not her fault that she won.
Yeah.
She has no fault in this. It's not, she did a very good job and she won. We should be happy for her as well. But Clover did amazing as well.
When queens get hate for winning challenges, it's like they're happy. Let them be happy for winning.
What are they supposed to do? Just lose? What do you want them to do for you to be happy? You should be angry with the judges. You shouldn't be insulting Pink Chadora, who did her best, and I'm super proud of her as well. And I always say it's a lot better to be the robbed queen. You want to be the robbed queen, not that queen that wins and everyone says that you were robbed. You're gonna make up those 2,500 euros being the robbed queen a lot better.
I love that y'all are now getting money. Like, I love
me too.
it. I'm like, at least they're getting something. And then, so she ended up winning 2,500 euros and then 2 nights at the Axel Hotel in Barcelona.
Barcelona, oh la la. Yes, I love that getting money. This is so expensive. A lot of people are in a lot of debt after going to Drag Race España, if you know what I mean. Yeah. What do you think about the bottom 2?
Okay, so we had Drag Chuchi and then we had Vanya. I thought that it was a warranted bottom 2. I thought that that's what I expected from how the judges were. And then, like we were talking about earlier, we really didn't get to see much of their performances. So
But in that group, Drag Chuchi was the only one that
The
could
one who knew,
dance, was the
yes.
best of her group in that
Mhm.
challenge, was the only good one in her group in that challenge, actually. She carried the weight of the whole group. And afterwards, even in the Untucked, Vanya, who was the captain, goes to Chuchi and says, "Thank you very much because I wasn't
Mhm.
able to do everything that you did. Thank you for carrying all the weight of the group. Thank you for teaching everyone." I like her look was terrible. They also criticized, the fit of the outfit that the production gave her for the mini challenge. But well, I know that the runway look they didn't like. Okay.
Mhm.
But she was the best at the challenge. They have never put in the bottom someone who was the best in the challenge. I don't know how they're doing this, the judges. I'm very confused. I'm disappointed. I don't understand how they're judging. I just don't want to be confused. If they explained why, like, okay, it's 50%, she has so many points in this, so many points in that, I don't know, but I didn't feel like Drag Chuchi being in the bottom was correct. I would have put Kelly Roller, to be honest.
Well, Drag Chuchi was eliminated. Were you shocked by this?
I wasn't shocked because I understood that that's what they wanted me to think, that Drag Chuchi was the worst. You know, I didn't think that she deserved it, if that's your
Yeah.
question. You know, I could
I
see it
also
coming.
feel, yeah, I also feel like the Canary the Canary Islands just gets the short end of the stick sometimes.
Yeah, she did exactly the same as Vulcano. She did amazing and she went home second. It's like they are including Canary Island representation just as a token. Like you need one Canary Island drag queen, but they don't really respect and give the correct space to Canary Island drag. You know?
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm angry. I feel some type of way about this episode, Joseph.
I think we all feel a certain type of way. That's why that rating is so low. But I am excited for next week's episode. So
Yeah, next week is going to be the bowl. So that's going to be cool.
we're gonna get to see, because then the ball is basically what, two outfits they brought themselves and one they have to make alone.
Yep. Something like that. Some type of,
Ooh.
yeah, regional costumes. I think it's going to be the little snippet that they showed.
Oh,
I
also,
know.
I didn't get to talk about it. The Supreme
Oh,
was wearing the tux that I wore on Sissy That Talk Show. So I had my nice little moment and I felt very special because the Supreme and I can share a wardrobe.
the taste level. I
The
mean,
taste level.
unmatched. It's
Can I tell you
just
what
amazing.
what also made me laugh is that came from ASOS and it literally was like $100. So just knowing that the Supremes like wardrobe person like bought it off ASOS and it was only like $100 makes me laugh even more.
You just broke all the magic. It's designer, okay? And
It's
it's tailored
designer.
perfectly to her body. We don't care about reality. You didn't say. Yours wasn't from ASUS either. It was designer,
It was
okay?
designer. It was
Wink,
by
wink.
Asus. It was by
A
the designer
sauce.
Asus.
Exactly.
Thank you all so much for listening to today's episode of Expose España with me, Joseph Shepard, and my fabulous co-host, Marta Mama. We have new shows every Wednesday.
Yes, every Wednesday. And make sure to subscribe to our show. And you can rate us and review us on your podcast app. It really helps us a lot. We really want to know what you guys are thinking. So go ahead over there and show us some love. Share the love.
And send us an email at draggedoutpod@gmail.com and we might read it on the show next week.
I really want to answer people's questions because I'm sure there are a lot
Mm-hmm.
of things I haven't talked about. So there is also a phone number that you can call and leave us a message if you're not from Spain. If it's from Spain, just leave us an email, okay? So the phone number is 323-607-5116. Okay, send us a message and we may play it on the next show next week, okay?
Yes, and you can follow us on the socials. Marta is on Twitter at La Marta Mama, and I'm at Joseph A. Shepard. Thank you all so much.
Thank you all for listening. We'll see you next week for the new episode of Drag Race España Season 3.
Bye!
Bye!